Hey, for those already here.
Hey, Hamza.
It's not Hamza.
Oh, no, it's not that. Fuck, I'm blind. Hannah, sorry.
Oh. Who of you actually is gonna cook as well? Nice. Can you hear the talking okay? Maybe the music is a bit loud. No? It's not that hard of a recipe. It just takes a little bit, but it's, I think, quite simple. So it should be nice. Who is Peppy actually?
Peter Kostov.
Ah, okay.
Is the audio okay? Can you hear us? I'm really blind.
Fancy glasses. Amber, do you have something like this? Because we have another solution, but if everybody has this. It's like for steaming, but we can make a solution with alloy foil as well. Just want to know for those who join in. Oh no, that's different. No, but we can make something. Do you have alloy foil? Like just a roll like this? Yes, okay, perfect. Because you have to steam the aubergines, and then this is super easy, but you can also make it yourself, so we can just do it like that. Should we start on one shot? Or? Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be recorded afterwards anyway. You can watch a replay of it.
Yeah, but it's nicer, isn't it?
Just send it to Rick.
True.
Ah, might have to rewatch this later. Yes, Hannah, we tried at least. But it's hard at the moment. Especially now when the weather is bad again.
Yes.
Oh. 11. Did Carlos get the new look? Or is he still sitting in the old one?
I posted this.
There's Rick. Nice. Who wants to join this audience as well, no?
No.
Ah, yeah, he's vegan. Yeah, his problem. You know, so technically, if you're super strict vegetarian, this is not vegetarian, right? You have to buy like a replacement. But I mean, if you're vegetarian, you should know that. The knife! It's this one. It's a bit dirty. I like it. It's good German quality. It's from a birthday present. Yeah, it's nice. But it has one thing. The tip is broken off. Somebody dropped it.
It wasn't me.
Yeah, it's from like Solingen, so it's quite nice. You can hear it.
Hello.
Who's that?
Somebody equals Sandra, maybe. I don't know.
All I know, it wasn't me, Rick. At least it didn't hit a foot. I think that thing would have went straight in. How much time is it?
5 minutes.
Rick, are you gonna cook as well?
Just finished.
Ah.
Hi, Isabel.
Nice. It's filling up. We should have like cooking workshops that have it. So we need like a kitchen.
Yes.
So, Rick, how likely is it that we have a kitchen in the next level? Ooh, that's a two.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, one is actually quite late, right? Because we've done this like 2 already. People are gonna be super hungry. Isabella's already hungry now.
Just have a late breakfast this Saturday.
Yeah, I think kitchen is doable. The problem is always ovens. I think that's hard to get, but I like to get like a stove or something is quite okay. I think you can even just buy from like IKEA those induction ones. If people bring like their own pots and so on.
We have pots in love from the community.
But are they induction?
I don't. But we have also stove, but not induction. Like plates.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, those
How many?
4.
Okay.
One double one, so 8 in total.
Oh, Eileen!
Hello!
Hey, how are you? She's already back. Yeah, but those stoves are really weird. The big.
Not that one.
Ah, yeah, the other ones. Okay.
No, we have like...
Because I know that the West has those really big ones, and I made glue on them a few times, but they don't get hot forever. It takes like half an hour for them to ramp up, and then they stay hot. So if you want to put them lower again, so they're like really, really not so nice to cook with unless you make like a stew or so. I think Rick and me once made pasta with that, I want to say, and it took like forever. Yeah, I was with you, Rick, for that. But to get the spaghetti to cook, it was like, for the water to boil, it took like an hour and a half or so, I think. We cooked it on like small ones and put the hot water in. So it's, yeah, maybe we can see. Because normally Sandra wants to do like a workshop for the creativity week, but that's not
There is no creativity week.
Yeah. Okay, it's nearly 1. You can just walk over the ingredients first, and then people have time to catch up.
Okay.
We're doing fine, Aline. But I think everybody is getting a bit annoyed by the whole situation. Mila.
Hi, Mila.
Okay, shall we start? We can just go over the ingredients. Then, if there's still people catching in now, then we can just start like in 5 minutes. Yeah. So what you need is it says 2 aubergines, but we have like super small ones here. So instead, we're just gonna do 3 because they're basically not even like those combined are maybe 1. So just basically have like if those normal ones. So this is even still a bit small one. Just have at least 2 of those. So depending for how many people you cook as well. Then we need 1 or 2 chilies. So it depends how spicy you eat. It's not going to be super spicy because we're going to cook them first. So we're going to steam them. So they lose a bit. And we're going to also remove the seeds from it. So it should be, it's not really spicy, but you can just add it slowly and see if you like it. We need 2 garlics. And then later also we need ricotta. So this I think is 250. Normally I only need 200, but you can just throw it in. And Parmigiano, pine seeds. So for those also, basically for everything, you don't have to be super strict for the measurements. I think nothing really is super crucial, apart from maybe the water. So it's like liquid enough. Then we have 2 tomato cans as well. Pasta, we're only going to need a bit more than half of this, otherwise it's going to be way too much. Yeah, and oil and salt. So I think that's about it. And then for cooking, so if you have, but I think not most people won't have that. So do you have those things like this? They're for steaming. You also have other ones that just sit inside of the pot. If you have that, you can just use this. It's way easier. So the way it works is you just put this here, water in the bottom, and then if you heat it, the steam goes through and steams the stuff in the top, as long as you put a lid on it. But I think most people don't have that. So I already asked, I know at least one person doesn't have it. So what we're going to do inside is we're going to build our own one. And it's kind of super easy, just by crumbling a bit of some alloy foil together, so you have kind of like spacers. And then on top of that, you just put a bit of alloy foil with some holes. So that basically the idea is that the stuff is not being cooked, but it's just in the steam. So you put only a very little amount of water, and then it boils through. Yeah. And then you need one pot for that. So we're going to use it for the steaming and for the pasta. And we also need one more pot. So I have one like this, which is a bit like coated, but you can use any other pot as well. Just has to be like a decent size, because in the end everything gets put in there together. Okay, then we can just start if everybody is ready. Or does somebody need still like a minute or two? Otherwise we can just start now. Yes.
Thank you, guys.
So, should we start?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so the first thing we have to do is we have to take the aubergines and cut them in half. And also to remove this stuff, right? So you don't want to eat this, so you just take a knife and just cut it away. So you basically just cut it as close as possible so you don't lose all of it. And then you have an aubergine like this. We'll do it with the other ones as well, and Sandra is going to help.
Yes.
Okay, so once we have these, we want to just cut them in half. And the idea is that once they're cut in half, they go into the steamer. So for those who have one of these, you can just put it, they basically go in with the bottom down. So I'm just going to show how we do it without this, because not everybody has one of those. We're going to put this away. Very important is you need a pot that has a lid. Otherwise it won't work. And also the lid should be somewhat tight. So if it has to be able to keep the steam inside for a bit. And what you can do then is you just take a bit of alloy foil and you just make like 3 or 4 of those balls. Yeah, just crumble it together basically. So I'm going to make one more. Be careful, like, don't push it way too much, otherwise they get like super flat, right? And you want them to be all roughly on the same height, like ish. It's not super important, but what we're going to do with this basically is we're going to put them in the pot, and then if you fill water at the bottom, it basically gives us a bit of an area we can put the water. And if you just put a bit of alloy foil on top, then we can use this. It's the same idea, but if you do this a lot, I would just buy the steamer thing. It's like €10, I think, at IKEA. But for now, this will work as well. So all we have to do is you put a little bit of water. It really doesn't have to be much. It just has to be enough that it doesn't completely run out. So I basically make it and make sure there's still a bit of. Can I show this somehow? So the idea is that if it's flat, I can't show it, it swims around. If it's flat, there's still a bit of a gap between the top of those crumbled metal things and the other thing, right? So this is the most complicated thing you have to do for the whole recipe. And then, as a last step, all you do is you get another piece of foil, and you just put it on top, and don't push it in, it just has to basically lie on top. So that's best, yeah, it's our. You could also do it with a plate probably, but depending what plate you have, it might crack. So I think this is the safest one to do. So just fold it over a little bit. It should just somewhat fit in there. I won't be able to show it easily, but yeah, maybe I can just add a little more real quick so you can see it. So all we do is basically this. So there's no water inside. There's water under it. And then we're just going to poke a few holes in it. You can use a fork. Just be careful it doesn't like rip. Right? For those who have the other thing, it's way easier to just use a steamer. But if you ever need a steamer for something, you can just build it like that yourself. So we're just going to poke a few holes inside. I'll use one of these things. It's like for like wrapping together stuff. But you can just use a fork, a knife. Just be careful. Like if you're not careful, the holes get like really big, and then the water will swap, like go through them. So it's gonna boil up a bit. So just try to keep them somewhat small. And there's also the steam can also go around on the sides anyway, right? So once you have this, you can just put this on a stove, and I put the chart lock it before. You can just basically just put this on max in the beginning, because you really want this to boil as much as possible, so it fills the whole thing with steam. So you can already close this, and then no matter what, you basically put them in like this. If they don't fit, you can just stack them. It doesn't really matter. The idea is just that they get softened a bit, and they also taste less bitter if they get steamed. So, and later on we're going to cut them and throw them into our pasta. Yeah, but we have basically those cut ones, and we do the same with the chili. Be a bit careful, don't touch your face after you cut them.
It's like Corona,
yeah.
Don't touch it.
So if you cut them, don't touch your face anymore, otherwise you can, if it goes in your eyes. Yeah, so you don't have to clean them, anything yet. We're just gonna cut those in half. The seeds stay inside for now. We're gonna just take them out later, like this. And all we're gonna do now is we just put first the aubergines or eggplants basically down like this. We're gonna show in a second how. So you just stack them inside. And then on top of that, you just put the chili. So everything after this will be super easy. So it's just like this, basically. I hope you can see it. It's like the foil on top of the thing with the water. Make sure you don't take the lid off a lot, or you will lose all the steam. So just let it sit for 25 minutes and should be fine normally. So, and then you just put it on there, put it on 9 in the beginning, so max for me, and then later on you can put it on like a bit more than half, like 7 or so if you have. Okay, then lid on top, and then you just let it sit, and we put the timer on. Alexa, start 25-minute timer. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's the hardest part, because we have to build our own thing. So from now on, it's pretty straightforward. You need a pot, a big one. So again, if you have something like this, so this is actually normally to put stuff into the oven. You can just use that one. Otherwise, any pot will do. It's just a bit easier to. You don't need as much oil in this one and so on to grill stuff. So use this one. Just make sure it's big. It should fit all the sauce and the pasta and the aubergines later. So it's going to be like at least 2 liters, so make sure you don't take the smallest pot. Yes, it's actually the best feature of Alexa is actually that you can just put timers like this in the kitchen when your hands are dirty. It's like the only thing it's really useful for. Okay, what we're gonna do now is so we take the pine seeds, and in the recipe normally it's 40 grams, but you can be like plus minus. I think this one is like 200, 150. So I'll just put like a third of this in there roughly. They're pretty nice, so adding more doesn't really, it tastes good anyway. So the idea is to put it in the cold pot or pan, not super important, and then you put the heat on. Yeah. For those who are following along, is it fine or is it too fast? Yes. If you want to be prepared against Corona, just rub your hands in chili before you go outside. It really burns. Like I did it a few times already. Yeah, so you basically just put a bunch of pine seeds. And then you put the heat on like nearly max, something like 7 or 8. Important is you want them to get brown but not burn. And it's really quick to go from nice to bad, so pay a lot of attention. Because they're also not cheap, so it would be a shame if you have to throw them all away.
Which you good ones?
Yes, yeah, it happened if you distracted. Yeah, so then we also need some kind of wooden spoon or whatever, like I have something like this. You can also use any kind of other, like for like pans, this kind of stuff. That should all work. Because you want to mix them a little bit when they start. So if you look at them, basically the moment they turn nice is they start kind of like sweating a bit, so they leave a bit of their oil out, and then they start becoming brown, and you can also smell it if you don't have corona. So yeah, just wait a little bit, but pay attention. It takes really long in the beginning, but then once they start getting brown, it gets really quick, and then you should already start mixing them through so you don't burn. But don't let other people come. I mean, you can do it. Are there any questions so far?
I like to feel useful sometimes.
No, that's fine. You can also talk.
I don't know what to talk.
Yes. So you can see it starts with steam now like this.
Pay attention.
So you can, if you open it, you can see this all kind of like, there's no water coming through. Yeah. But the steam basically slowly cooks it through, and it just leaves all the taste inside of it. And especially for aubergines, they are bitter otherwise if you don't do it nicely. So yeah, I will put that on. I also put the heat down a bit. Once it's that much, we can just leave it at like 7 or so as well. It should still be hot enough for it to constantly boil water. Yeah, Bert, we can leave it on the. We can leave it on the. I can send like a link to the video once it's done. Yeah. So again, these ones, you can just throw them around a little bit, but for me they're not nearly done yet. You can really see like the pot or the pan should start becoming like a bit like oily at the bottom because they lose their oil when they get hot, and at that point they're basically nearly done.
I agree.
So by the way, if you cook a lot, one thing that I started using from my dad a lot, instead of always going to the trash can, you can just put some kind of bowl or whatever on this counter, and just throw all your trash in there, and then later on you can throw it away, because otherwise you constantly are touching like the trash bin, then you have to wash your hands again and so on. So if you just yeah, just I really do this a lot when I cook myself, just to put it somewhere. If you have like an empty can, you can just put it in there in the beginning or so. But just don't always use the trash bin, otherwise you have to always wash your hands. Yes. Okay. So, it's starting a bit. It's starting to get a little bit. You can also just put the power up a bit on them. Then just pay like really a lot of attention. Yeah, while you're paying attention, you can already peel your garlic as well, because you're gonna need that next. So you can just take it. One cool trick as well for that, you can just take your hand. I can't do it anymore now. It's already peeled, but actually the easiest one is to just take. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Eileen, we will leave it online. I think we can just see if we can just put it on the YouTube channel, and then you can just watch it later. Okay, so for me they're starting to get a little bit brown now, so now I have to pay attention. I'm gonna put the heat down a bit again.
I'll do the trick now.
So
you take the garlic. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, you have to maybe describe it.
And then with your hand, you just crush it.
Yeah, basically with the flat part of your hand, you can pressure it down, and then it just kind of springs open. Then you can leave it, then you have all of it. And then for a lot of recipes, you could even just smash the garlic, then you have to cut it. And if you want to cut it nicely, you actually just cut those small leftover parts off, those brown parts. And yeah, so you can see that for me, they're starting to get like a little bit brown everywhere. So now you have to be careful. Like from this to burn, it takes like a minute max. So now I'm just turning them around a lot. And you can even already turn the stove off for those so hot enough. You have to really mix it a lot now. And the goal is to get them all like nice, like a little bit brown and crispy without any of them getting black, because otherwise it will taste really burnt. And you should smell a bit, it smells a little bit like popcorn, nearly.
I don't know what you smell, but I don't smell popcorn.
Smell?
I kind of. But not really. Did you use this?
Yeah. Yeah, if you pay a bit of attention, if you hear like a hissing noise in the pot, that means the water is out and you have to add a bit more water. So just, if the pot starts making weird sounds or starts smelling or so, then just add a bit more water, because you want to make sure that you can even maybe add a little bit, just to be safe. You can add a bit of warm water in it, not too much. But normally it's really easy to do this with the other one, because you just see how much water still is in there. See now it's not smoking. Does it smell? It really smells like popcorn. Maybe somebody in the chat can. Who's following along? Yeah, so I think they're done now. They should look something like this. So it's going to be hard to see, I think, a bit, but they're basically like, all of them are either slightly brown or like rather brown already. Yeah, just basically make sure they don't get dark, really black. And then you can take them out. If you have something like this, so it's like a mortar to like crush herbs. If you have this, it's the best. You just throw them in there and crush them. Otherwise, what you can also do, I'm going to do with this one, this is the easiest. Otherwise, you just chop through them with a knife a little bit. You just want to make them like...
I can do some chopping, because I'm not good at it, so I'll probably...
Are you going to do the chopping? Or?
Yeah, a bit.
Right, okay, then I'll just... So normally, you would just put them over now into... Just put them into, you know, on like the thingy or on like a plate or whatever. But so if you have them in there like this, what you do is you just crush them a bit, or you cut them with a knife. The idea is then they get a bit more of their taste away when you put them on top of the food later on. You can even smell it now, it smells super nice. It's like one of my favorite ingredients.
Eat one.
Yeah, so if you do it in the mortar, you get something like this. It's kind of like a mix of like smaller and bigger parts, and it's perfect, and we're just going to crumble it later on over the pasta when it's finished. So you can put them aside. You can either cut them now or later when you have some time. So if you cut it, you just do the same. Just cut some of them, leave some of them normal. It's... Yeah. Okay. So, the next step is we need this thing again. So it should be, you don't even have to clean it. There's nothing in there. So we need a bit of olive oil. You can either measure, like if you want, you can measure like this is like a tablespoon, I think. No, where's the bigger one?
Oh, I see.
So you can measure like a tablespoon, which is like 15 milliliter, or you can just pour it in. I'm just gonna pour it in. It's not really important. You don't need that much. It's like just something like this. So you want to have a bit of oil everywhere. And what goes in there is going to be the garlic. And we do it at low heat. So you can put it, for me it's like 3 out of 9 or so. It just should be warm. We're going to put the garlic in there. And we're also going to put the basil in there.
But you have to chop it.
Yeah. So first the garlic. What I would do is just crush it like I showed before. So you basically, or Sandra showed before. You just push it basically with the back of your hand here on the board, like this. And then you get kind of like something like this, and then you can just chop it a few more times. It doesn't have to be super small. It's gonna cook forever in the sauce anyway, so most of the taste is gonna go out of it. So yeah, you just crush it, and then you just take a knife and you chop it fine. Just make sure there should be no parts that are bigger than the pine seeds. Otherwise it's really going to be a bit too strong if you bite on it. But the mortar is actually a story. So I studied something else in Germany before I came to Belgium. And at some point there, one of my best friends there, we moved to get an apartment. And the whole apartment was empty, but they left that one thing there. And it's like the most amazing one ever. Like you can definitely buy them like everywhere in Dylan Camille, but this thing, it's not clear from the video. This is like 2 or 3 kilo probably. It's like it's actual full granite. So it's crazy heavy and it's super nice because it's really sturdy. I've never seen one that nice, and it was just some guy just left it in the apartment we moved in. So it was an empty apartment with a weird, like kind of like a kitchenette in it. Everything empty apart from that thing. And then when I moved out, because I was the one cooking, my roommate said you can take it with you. It's really, really nice. Good question. Yeah, so basically just cut through the garlic a bit. It really doesn't have to be perfectly cut. Just try to keep the pieces like somewhat small. So they're all about the size of the pine seeds maximum. We can just throw this in here.
Let me check. It's branded, but I don't think so because actually no, it's not branded. It's just the perfect.
I think somebody made this. It's like by himself in like a.
No.
But it's like made out of a full block of granite. So I also think if you would actually have to buy this, it would probably not be cheap. But it's luckily, I mean, it doesn't break. Like then you could break the kitchen with.
This thing is a good thing to hit people with.
Yeah, it definitely could be a weapon. So, we have the garlic already in there. And then the other thing we want to add is we're going to use from a basil plant. I hope you have fresh basil. It really makes a big difference. We're going to use about like half a plant, roughly. And we're not going to throw anything away. So the first thing we're going to do now is we're going to cut the plant off. And then we're going to take all the stems and we're going to chop the stems small and throw them in there as well. And then the leaves, we keep them for later on so they don't get completely cooked through. So you can just take the plant and then either you take a scissor. You can take a scissor and just like half of it. So you roughly half the plant. If you have outside, so if you ever want to keep a plant alive, don't do it like that. You just cut the top off. So if you want to keep that alive, you just take always the top leaves only, and then normally the ones underneath should start growing up again. But you have to leave a few leaves there. But for this one, it's not going to survive probably anyway. And we have some basil growing outside already. They're like small, so we're just going to sacrifice this one. But basically, normally most people would just throw this away because it's a bit tough. So you would take the top stuff here, these are fine, but the lower part usually is a bit hard. So often people, they throw it away. What we're going to do is we're just going to rip these ones off for later. So you can just go through.
How much do you need?
For those following along, it's still fine speed.
Is this enough?
Yeah, that's enough, I think.
Okay, I'm gonna wash it.
Yeah. Yeah, wash it. Yeah, you want to do it? And then you can either do it before or after. Basically, you want these things, and all you gotta do is just. Yes. I think the knife is still better though. I think that thing is. I cut myself once with it, and I took like a good chunk of my finger off. Like you don't really cut yourself with a sharp knife normally, but if you do it was bleeding like crazy. I think I would still choose this one. It's also longer. Like Jan said, never bring a knife to a mortar. Yeah, so don't forget about your garlic. Normally, like at the low heat we have, it will take forever really for it to go. So you can just mix it a bit. It should slowly get brown. Just don't make it hot. It shouldn't really get very dark, otherwise it becomes bitter and very crispy. So once you have these, where's my thing? I lost my. Did you throw it away? Like the piece?
No, I took it.
Okay. So basically, the top here is fine. Like these ones, they're very flexible, but everything is a bit harder like this. You just tear it off, and you just collect them, and you can put the leaves on the side. So you can also just kind of like with your fingers just go over the stem, and normally the leaves go off by themselves quite easily. So if you just basically do this and you just pull it through, then you kind of get those parts, and then you have the softer stuff. Yeah, we have some. Yeah, definitely leave. If this is all your basil you have, leave a few nice looking ones for later. But we still have a whole plant, so we can just use those. But we're gonna later on put like one of those on the top. It really makes a big difference for it to look nice as well. Yeah. Let's do that first. Okay, it's fine. So what we're after is basically this part. Normally you could throw this away, but actually because we're gonna cook it in there for a while, it's gonna give all the nice flavor away. So we're just gonna chop those up. Try to chop them quite small. So here just basically go with a knife over it and really make them quite small because they can still stay a bit they're not really soft. So if they're still big, then you might bite on them later. So definitely. So you want to cut them into like small pieces, like this kind of. And then you just go in with the garlic. You're just gonna stay, and with the basil we keep it for later. Because otherwise it's gonna completely overcook. And it should start smelling quite nice for those who follow along with the basil and the garlic. It's a really simple recipe. It takes a bit because there's a lot of like steps, but it's not very hard thing, but I think it tastes super nice. So I hope you will like it. Yeah, so basically just have some garlic and some basil stuff mixed with a bit of oil. So we just put this here. We can put the heat up now, but make sure it doesn't burn while we get the other stuff. So we're going to put it up on 9, because as the next step we're going to actually add the tomato to it, I think. Yeah. So, You should have some of these. For those who actually followed the instructions, you should have like full tomatoes. I tried it actually because it was a bit weird, but the recipe actually asked for those full ones, and they actually taste better than the chopped ones for some reason. So what you're gonna do is, so if you have chopped ones, you can just pour them in. But if you have those big ones, you just you take this, so there's like full-size tomatoes still in there, and you just take them and basically rinse them through your hands, and while doing it, you crush them. So it's a bit of messy. Be a bit careful that they don't explode in your direction. But I tried once without, and it really didn't taste as good. So they taste a bit better. So you could also cut them with a knife a bit, but it's actually in the recipe. So it's from Jamie Oliver. In the recipe, it says just put them in your hand, squash them, and it's. I think it's the best way of doing it. So just basically you take the tomato. Make sure your hands are clean, but I washed mine and I didn't really touch any trash or anything like that. So just take this, pour it through your hand like this, so you basically catch them. And then tomatoes you have in your hand, you have to just carefully squash them through. Be careful not to burn yourself, because in the beginning it might splash a bit up. If they're still small parts, you can also later on just, but we basically just take these and we, just with your fingers, you kind of chop, so then you have like stuff like these, like smaller pieces. If you just bought like chopped ones, and then you can leave it like that, but it really doesn't taste quite as good. Yeah, be careful that it doesn't splash up, because this is really where you can make a giant mess.
And the weather is getting better. There's already sun showing a bit through the clouds.
Yeah.
Don't throw the cans away.
Yeah, you need the cans. Yeah. Good. Yeah, you can sit. Yeah. So, try to get most of the tomato inside, and then we have the cans, and there's still lots of nice stuff in there, and we need water anyway. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill them all the way up with water. You swirl. Alexa stuff. We're gonna swirl it a bit, and then pour it in there. We do this for both of them. So we add like roughly 400 milliliters of water twice, so 800.
There's one.
And you can wash your hands before that as well. So just make sure you turn it a little bit. So if you do this, then most of the stuff should come out. Yeah, so you can see, it's like if you want, you could, you don't really need this, so it's fine. And then those can go into the PMD. If you bring them to the PMD now, just make sure you wash your hands again. So, if there's still some like a bit bigger pieces, don't get them out there hot already, so don't try to do them with your hands. Just take like a spoon and mash them a bit.
Timer went out for the...
Yeah, perfect. Okay, we can turn off. So if you don't have your own timer, or timer went just off in the background, which means our thing is going down. And if you look at yours, it should look something like this. They kind of look like they aged a lot, and the water is green. Just take them out first, then you can pour the water away. You don't want that. It's actually technically a little bit toxic even, so you don't want to eat that stuff. With your pasta now, we're just going to completely flush out the pot a bit. So we're going to take these out, put them on a cutting board, put the chilies aside first, we're going to use them later, and then you just put a bit of water in the pot, rinse it, put it away. You don't have to use soap or anything, just make sure all the green stuff is out of it. Yeah, and then we just put water in and put it for boiling again because we're going to put our pasta in the same pot. Yeah? You can also very carefully just take all this metal, if you lift it, there's steam coming out. Also, if you have a steamer, there's a lot of steam in it, so always be careful. That stuff is really easy to burn yourself with. I'm just going to do it one by one, so we have something like this. You can also just use a fork or even your knife. You could just puncture into this. Just keep in mind, we cooked them quite a bit, so they're very soft now. So they're going to fall apart, so just grab them very carefully. You can see, like, if I take one of them up, that all the skin is already coming off. They're extremely soft now. And they're going to taste much better now than before. So we're going to... Yeah, so leave all the water if there's any in the thing. That's actually, so the aubergine, it makes it actually a really light recipe because it's like half of the stuff is actually aubergine. So it's, even though it's like pasta, it's actually not as heavy as most pasta dishes. Here's our chilies. They also, like the peel is kind of loosening up as well. So that's perfect. And then you can throw this away. Just pour the whole thing in because the metal is so hot. So you can just take this whole thing, dump it in the sink. And then you can just clean it. Just make sure, for me there's a few of like parts where there's a bit of the green stuff from the aubergine still. Just scrub it off real quick. And then you just fill it, the pot, fill it like roughly half full of water. So really important is, if you cook pasta, use a lot of water. You don't want to, a lot of people make the mistake and they use way too little and then the pasta doesn't get as nice. Just make sure that you really fill it up to like 2/3 at least, from maybe for this one. You really want the pasta to be able to like float around in it. Otherwise it cooks uneven and it also kind of becomes very like starchy. So just make sure you really use a lot of water. And if you have, use warm water. Make sure you use, yeah. Yeah, cooking normally does the same thing, but it's true. So like, actually, I'm gonna start first. Yeah, if you have warm water, just use warm water. It's going to be way faster to cook. Just let a bit of water run out till it's warm. So, something like this, so it's like at least half full. You can put it on here. Put a lid on it, otherwise you waste a lot of energy. Just put it on, and we can put it on max, on 9 again. To the point what Sarah said, normally cooking does the same thing. The reason why you do this is that I think they're nightshades. I want to say, I'm not sure anymore, but I think it's from the nightshade. It's the same like with, like, for example, potato leaves were super toxic, or green potatoes as well. And they even have, actually, they have nicotine in them even as well, or like a derivative of it. By cooking them really long, like this, so they get really hot. They're basically, if you look at them, they look like they've been lying in the sun for like a day or so. That normally gets rid of it as well. Also, salting a lot does the same thing, and it pulls all the water out. So normally this should work, but you can of course just keep them lying in salt for a while as well. I'm not sure if that usually helps. It should work here as well. But yeah.
There's water everywhere from them.
Okay, so what we're doing now, we're gonna boil water for pasta. And actually we're already getting towards the end of it nearly. My tomato thing is boiling a lot as well. I'm putting it down a bit. It doesn't have to like, it should boil a bit, but it doesn't have to go completely crazy. So I'm gonna put it on like 7, 6.5. There's still like a bigger piece. I'm gonna crush it. And we can also already add a bit of salt to it while we add it. So in general, it's a good idea to just keep salting your food while you're cooking, not only in the end. Yeah, normally if you're allergic against stuff and you heat it, it gets boiled, it normally destroys the stuff you're allergic to. But it really depends on the allergy, so don't listen to me, but listen to the doctor for it. But for most stuff, because the proteins degenerate, it doesn't really make you allergic anymore. Yeah, so for this, just put a pinch of salt. So it's, in general, you want to salt all the time, but salt in small amounts. You don't want to, like, it's always easy to add salt, but it's hard to get out again. But one common mistake people do in the beginning when they learn cooking is they just salt at the end. And then let's say, for example, you don't salt your pasta water, but then you salt the sauce and everything, then you will still have stuff that tastes very bland. So you want to have salt in all of it, all the time while you're cooking. Otherwise, you kind of have parts that are really salty and parts that are very, taste like paper, basically. So just take like a good pinch of salt. It's quite a bit of sauce, so I'm going to put like a decent amount actually in it. Now we can close the oven again. And then also in the pasta water, when it starts boiling a bit, you can also, and there you definitely need a good amount as well, so it's even a bit more. Most people actually under salt their water for pasta. You need quite a bit. Okay, so we have this, waiting for the pasta, and then here, our sauce is still cooking away. As a next step, we actually want to add our aubergine to that. So what we have to do, we have these aubergines here. They're very soft already, but we want to chop them up a bit. So basically just take a knife and you chop them through it in all directions. You really want them to be small, but they're going to basically fall apart. So you don't even need much for it. But so you're going to take a knife and you just kind of like, I would do it like this. So you take your knife, you put your hand on one side and you just kind of go like this. So if you want to do like rough chopping, so you can just, you go over it first thick, so just make it into bigger chunks. And then you just, with the thing, you just put it together. So you just take your knife. Ideally, if you care for your knife, you do it with the back. But you just take the back, put it together into like a, you see that it's kind of like a thing. Then I can chop through the direction again. So you kind of just keep collecting it and then chopping through it. Yeah, I already chopped it. So then once you chopped it, you again make it into like a street, and then you just go through it again. And at some point it will basically nearly turn into like a puree nearly. It should look, I'm gonna just take a look at my spoon. It should look something like this. So it's basically, it still has some chunks in it, but it's really like very small, and it will just thicken up our sauce pretty much. We're just gonna take this now and throw it into the tomato sauce. So what I would just do is take a knife and just kind of like swoop it up. and just put it over into the So, our water should be boiling, yeah, a lot. So now, so this 500 gram pack, so the one we're cooking is for like 3 to 4 portions, depending how hungry people are. So we need 300 grams, we need like, yeah, two-thirds of it-ish. So I'll just open it up. If you don't like full grain, or whole grain, try it once. It's actually really nice, this recipe, because it really tastes a lot stronger. Even if you don't like it normally, it fits very well. But it will work as well with the other one. So just take your hand on like the lower third, and you can pour it on. And then you have like the other part left another time. I think it's 9 minutes.
9.
Alexa, set a 9-minute timer. Yes, full corn. It's actually really nice, and once you get used to the taste, it actually tastes really, really good, and it keeps you like filled longer. So our sauce, I just mix it through it so it looks something like this now. It still needs to get a little bit boil a little bit more down, basically till the pasta is done. Also important when you, before I forget it, later on when you pour away the water, keep a bit of the pasta water, because you might need to thin down the whole thing a bit. So just pour it into like a bowl or something, or yeah, make sure make sure you don't leave it on 9 anymore. Put it on like 7. And what I would also do is just take the spoon we had before and just kind of make like a thing like this. Then the lid can't just slide back on top, because once it's completely full, then it will boil over again. But if it's like can go out a little bit like this, then it's usually fine. Okay. We're pretty much. Yeah. While we wait, we can already clean our chili. So we have the chilies here. If you like spicy, you can even just leave it. So if you don't like eating spicy food, like Carlos, for example, or his family, or something, then you can just leave them in. If you don't, then you just take a knife and you just carefully, basically move the knife over like this. Be careful not to push so much that you lose all the flesh here as well, like the main part of it, right? You don't want to be left over with the skin. So just take the thingy and just carefully do it like this. Like either with a big knife or with a small knife. And then you should be left with this. I'm going to leave the rest of the seeds in for us. What do you think? You want spicy?
Not too much.
Then I'll do half. So most of the spicy part is actually of the chili is in the seeds and also in the hairs that are around it. So if you remove the seeds, it's actually not so spicy anymore. So if you just take these and just very carefully get it out. Also those like small hairs that are in it, like this stuff. Actually, you can see like these orange ones. This you want to take out. The rest is actually not that spicy. And you can just try, right? If you're not sure, just cut like a tiny piece and try a little bit and see how. This one is like very mild actually, so I'm just gonna leave this in. how's it going for? We had like Carlos, I think, was following Isabel as well. Or...
No, she's gonna follow later.
Oh, Amber, I think. Amber and Carlos, you're still following along? Is it still working? Yeah, so we can just chop those up. Same as like the thing, you just want to chop them like in a somewhat small size. It doesn't have to be tiny. And then all this just comes inside here. Wash your hands afterwards with salt. With soap. Because otherwise it's gonna get, yeah, you will touch your face at some point, or like, or you touch something that then somebody else touches. So just after you put it in, just immediately go and just wash your hands.
Amber has a study that she can't follow along and cook at the same time.
Oh.
I'll finish it later. It should be fine. And for Carlos, it's going alright.
Alexa, how much time is left on the timer? Okay. So you have 3 minutes left. And then the only thing I actually still have to do is just mix all the stuff.
I'm going to clean the bowl
yeah.
and the chili.
So all we have to do now is basically take the pasta, we pour away the water. And then we put the pasta inside there, put the ricotta inside, and put like most of the basil inside. Or actually we can put all inside because we still have more. And then we just let it like mix for like a minute or two, and then we only have to decorate it. You want to put the heat even lower because it gets very thick now, so it's starting to bubble a lot. And then we can do the same with the basil, like with the chili, we just chop it a bit. This one you can even do rougher because it's actually gonna, once it gets hot, it's gonna, they get pretty tiny. So you can just very roughly just chop through it once. Like this. And then you just take all of it and throw it in here as well. Like 2 minutes or so. It smells really nice now.
Is there enough salt?
You have to try it.
Should I open this?
Yeah. So I'm going to use this to pour away the pasta in. If you actually would use the steamer, you can even just pour them in a steamer as well, and you don't have to clean more stuff. I'll just catch a little bit of it in the beginning, just in case we need a bit more water in the end. Because once we actually add the ricotta and the pasta here, we want to have this to still be a little bit liquidy, So then we can just add the pasta water, because it's already nice warm and it's also salted.
Ricotta is open.
Yeah, you could definitely put spinach in there as well. Even on top of it, because the nice thing with the aubergine is that it actually adds like a bit of like volume to it without making it more heavy. But you could just either add spinach now or you could just replace it with it.
Alexa, stop.
Okay, so the timer is off, so all we have to do now is to just take this, we capture a bit of the water, either in a bowl or in a mug or whatever. Just a little, but it's gonna burn yourself if you want to first. I'll just take a mug. You can take a nice big mug, like this one, and you just pour like a decent amount of water in, and then you pour the rest of the pasta in the sink. Just be careful not to burn yourself. So that's the last steps. Yeah, it was about an hour. It's normally a lot fast. If you do it yourself, you can do it in like 45 minutes, I think. Maybe it's 40 even. And I actually just cook it always for multiple portions, at least for like 4 or 6. And then you can just use it the next day. It stays quite nice as well. So I'll turn all the heat off actually. And can you see this with that? So what I do is I just take the pasta and I'll mix it in there. So you mix this and then you also add the ricotta. I'll just put the whole thing inside. I think it's 250?
Yeah.
So normally you only need I think 200 or so, but it won't make it any worse. And now, basically, because we added the ricotta and the pasta, it's getting actually quite thick. So, I'm not sure if you can see it. You also, yeah, you should keep mixing it. When it still looks white and it's not mixed enough. Yeah, all of a sudden it's actually a pretty decent amount of food. It's definitely enough for 4 people, I think. Yeah, so you mix it like this. And then I take a little bit of the water and add, not much, because it's already quite okay, but it should still be more like a sauce than stuff being coated in it completely. So just add it so still, when you basically move your spoon through it, it should still like fill in the gaps basically, right? And that's basically it. So now this, I would just basically split this in portions if you want to store it away, right? So I would not add the other stuff, the fresh stuff to it. I would just then warm that part up again and then add the, yes.
So you can either rasp it or cut it. If you don't have a rasper, it also works. Just cut it finely. Not a lot, is just for decoration on top. And it adds in taste, of course. It's the magic of cheese, always does.
So, if you still have some basil, just take a few nice leaves, like these big ones. That's actually something also really important once you get into cooking. Like, there's a saying in Germany that like the eye eats at the same, like with you as well. So it basically means like there's actually a big difference if the food also looks nice versus it just tasting nice. So just take, if you want to make something for somebody, just pay a bit of attention to also decorate it a bit nicely. Even though it's taste the exact same, it will feel like it's nicer food. So then you can decide if you want to have a flat plate or a one like these. Or just take like a deep one like this. If you have one of those full pasta plates, it's also fine. And then you can just take either a big spoon or something like this, like a Lego, and just take like a quarter out of this. Yeah, we should probably try it actually a bit. I very rarely try this stuff because I do them like a lot, so it's, it could be a bit of salt. Yeah, just try. You can also add pepper if you want. So we don't have at the moment. We don't have nice black pepper anymore. I don't like the other one, the white one. So just do a check for salt. But usually you can always add salt even on the plate. So just don't overdo it. Some people don't like it that salty. So. Then just mix it again. Yeah, by the way, for those who are like super strictly vegetarian, technically Parmesan is not vegetarian really. But we eat like mostly vegetarian, but not super hardcore, so that's why we don't really care. But there's like other cheese you can buy, because technically they put some stuff in there that is from like a cow, like that is like from a cow that was killed for it. It's a small amount, but if you really care, if you're like really vegetarian, like strictly, then just get a different cheese. Yeah, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna add this. We're gonna put a bit of cheese on top. You can also make it finer, like on the fine side, it both will work. Or cut it, it's really just preference. If you make it finer, you can use a bit less and it still tastes about the same. So you basically just add a bit of Parmesan on top like this. And don't forget, we also still have these. They're actually gonna make a big difference. So you take, just take a small spoon or so. And take a quarter of this as well and just kind of crumble it on top. And don't forget these, they make a huge difference actually. Like this. And then we finish. And it's like a small touch, right? It really, taste-wise, it won't make a big difference. But if you have this, it looks okay. If you just add like a small, nice, fresh leaf on top, it immediately looks much nicer. So I hope you all had fun. We're gonna make sure that you can just watch the video afterwards. We can just share a link. But first, we're gonna have some food now. So I hope for those who followed along, it turned out well. Did you try it, Carlos? So that's a super nice recipe, I think. So the ricotta is very light. For those who will try and see. No problem.
And you just eat ingredients while cooking.
Yes. Okay. Are there any questions still? I think it's not a really hard recipe. It just takes a while. So you have like lots of steps in between. But...
Thanks to my friends from back home that followed my channel. You're welcome.
Nice. Okay, we're just gonna eat now and then we're gonna upload the video on the channel later and you can just watch it. Okay, have fun and have a nice meal, Carlos.
Bye. Enjoy, guys, and I'll see you soon, I guess, on Zoom or Teams or Discord. Bye.
Yes.
I will post it on our profile. It's Jan's cooking channel on Instagram if you want to follow it. It's also in the picture with the ingredients at the bottom. Bye, guys.
Ciao.